Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Erin Bonitto. I'm the guest here today at Elizabeth Training Institute speaking on memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. We're going to start right off with a memory test. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ready, yes.
I want you to think back in the last 1 year of your life. In the last 1 year, have you ever misplaced your car keys? Hands up. Yes, absolutely. In the last 1 year of your life, have you ever met one of your friends or colleagues at the supermarket or at church, and you go to say, "Hello there, you buddy, old friend"? Raise your hand. In the last year, have you gone shopping? Put your car where you think you've always put it in the parking lot. You go do your business. You come back out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where's that car of mine? It happens to all of us. If you've had any of those things, you might be experiencing what you're going to see on this next slide, something very, very, very serious. Ta-da! Age-associated memory impairment, AAMI. It's a really big medical term, and I'm not going to ever refer to it again as age-associated memory impairment. I'm going to refer to it as senior moments. Senior moments. Those simple little lapses in short-term memory in otherwise healthy adults. Senior moments happen to all of us. The older we get, probably the more often we have these senior moments. But the thing is, with senior moments, they don't greatly impact our ability to lead our day-to-day lives. We can write ourselves little notes. We can have checklists. We can have reminders. We can use our calendar. We can have little mnemonic devices to help us remember our best friend's name or our husband's name or our wife's name. It's okay. They're lapses. They're not serious. They're not anything to be afraid of. Dementia is something very, very different. Dementia is a cluster of symptoms. Some of the symptoms of dementia include things like significant memory impairment, language difficulties, failure to recognize or identify objects. That's a lot, to me, that's a lot of mumbo jumbo. So I describe dementia as a cluster of symptoms. A cluster of symptoms related to intellectual functioning. Dementia is not a disease unto itself. I think that's confusing for people. People will say, "My mom's been diagnosed with dementia." Well, what that means is your mom is experiencing a cluster of symptoms, but we need to know what's causing that cluster of symptoms. A lot of things cause dementia. One of the most well-known things that causes dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a big cause of dementia. There are other causes. There's something called vascular dementia. Vascular dementia happens when blood flow and oxygen is cut off to the brain, maybe because of a stroke. There are things like thyroid problems that can cause dementia, or very, very poor nutrition that can cause dementia. There are really dozens and dozens and dozens of causes of dementia, and we're not going to cover all those causes here today, but I'll tell you, if you're interested in knowing more about all the different causes of dementia, a really wonderful resource is your local Alzheimer's Association. And if you get on the internet, you'll find them at www.alz.org. Let's see what the Alzheimer's Association has to say about Alzheimer's disease versus age-associated memory impairment. You might ask yourself, my mom's having a lot of these senior moments. How do I know the difference between a lot of senior moments versus something much more serious like Alzheimer's disease? So the Alzheimer's Association gives us 10 warning signs to look for. The first is memory loss. And if you're taking notes either here in the classroom or you're taking notes at home, I want you to find a little pen, a little piece of paper, and I want you to write the word joggable. Joggable. The question is this memory joggable? So for instance, I've met Jack. I've met Jack a few days ago, correct? He walks into this room, and I look at him and go, "Oh, buggers. I don't know this guy from anybody." Jack comes and introduces himself. He says, "I'm Jack. You know, I work at Morningside Ministries. I picked you up the other morning. I drove you across town to where you were going." If he can jog my memory and I say, "Oh, Jack, yeah, I'm sorry. Of course I know you, Jack." If he can jog my memory, I'm okay. I just had a little, oops, a little brain fart, a little senior moment. Well, I mean, young people have senior moments too. Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we get overstressed or overworked. There's a lot of things that cause those little oopses. But if Jack can jog my memory, I'm okay. I just had a little oops. If Jack cannot jog my memory, if I look at Jack and say, buddy boy, you didn't pick me up. That wasn't you. I don't remember ever driving across town with you. I've never seen you before. Well, now, there's something really significant happening with me cognitively if I don't remember Jack even after he's strongly tried to jog my memory. The second warning sign the Alzheimer's Association provides is difficulty performing familiar tasks. What do we mean by difficulty performing familiar tasks? I worked with a fellow many, many years ago. Maybe he was 71, 72 years old. He lived in a memory cottage where I was an aide. And his wife asked me if, on the mornings that I worked, would I make him his favorite breakfast. I was 19 years old. I could barely pour cereal. I could barely get a bowl of cornflakes out successfully. But his wife, Marie, asked, she said, please, Erin, she said, the mornings you work, would you make Charlie his favorite breakfast? Would you make him the 2 eggs over easy, the piece of wheat toast, the half grapefruit, the cup of hot black coffee, the orange juice? And I said I would. I said I would. And then every day after that, I gave him cornflakes. I gave him cornflakes. I wasn't successful. And I tell you what, I brought out those cornflakes to Charlie every morning that I worked, and Charlie's face would light up, and he'd say, hey, babe, thank you. Boy, thank you, hon. And he would dive into those cornflakes. So I thought this is okay. Well, one morning I had a little extra time, and I had practiced flipping eggs back at my little apartment. And one morning I was successful. One morning I made Charlie's favorite breakfast. It was, I thought, something that should go on the cover of Good Housekeeping. And I brought that plate, and my little 19-year-old heart was just bursting. I felt pretty proud of myself. And I put it down in front of Charlie, and Charlie lit up like he did every morning, and he said, hey, babe, thanks a lot. You're such a good girl. And with that, I said, enjoy your breakfast, and I was off to care for the other fellows that I cared for in this small cottage. I came back about 20 minutes later, and the Charlie that I knew, that lovable, adorable, gracious man that I knew, wasn't there. It was really a different Charlie altogether. This Charlie was angry. He was cursing. He had all his silverware balled up in his hands like this, and he was cursing, saying these blankety blank blank things don't work. They just don't work. Why did that blankety blank blank give these to me? And when I came in and he saw me cross the room, he threw that silverware at me for all he was worth. Wow. His plate was untouched. His eggs were cold. Coffee was cold. When you think about performing familiar tasks, every day I'd given him a bowl of cornflakes. That's a pretty simple task. Taking that spoon, scooping up the cereal, that's one task. But how many tasks are involved in a big, complicated breakfast? Eggs that have to be broken apart, and then toast that has to be picked up, and then grapefruit that has to be scooped out. Those are a lot of tasks. And in fact, what's typically lost in Alzheimer's disease isn't the ability to do those simple tasks. It's the ability to string them together in their logical sequence and in their logical order. I was blessed, really, to have mentors who taught me after that how I could provide Charlie with his favorite breakfast by providing him items maybe one at a time, or being there to cue him and start him. A person who's having regular old senior moments, they're not going to forget how to eat their favorite breakfast. A person with Alzheimer's disease may in fact forget how to eat their favorite breakfast.